today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
J6 on the docket. Epstein mess continues to expose the Dems on their collusion to hurt America. The more they attack, the better it gets for all of us because we learn more about their evil corruption. So good. Oh, we got a lot to cover, folks, heading into the new week. Thank you so much for the following on Rumble. We're at 500,000 plus. And I just want to remind folks that might have found us on YouTube. I don't advertise that because I don't trust them. They're the ones that knocked us out without telling us why. And supposedly they're letting other people back on, but not us. We just have to restart. And you know what? Any day they could remove it again. And you know what? Rumble didn't do that to us. So I just ask that you guys continue to watch us there. And we have our backup on other places like BitChute too. So moving forward, wanted to show you the resignations right away. Target CEO Brian Cornell stepping down, and Michael Fidelke is taking over as CEO February 1, 2026. Remember, we have that, and we also had the Walmart resignation, and we were told back in 2017 to track the CEO resignations, and there is a long list of corruption. Speaking of corruption,
lots of news, particularly on the Jeffrey Epstein front. Yep. Congress has released a whole bunch more of emails. The Democrats tried to make hay, but it hasn't stuck to Donald Trump. You know where it's sticking? The Democrats. And today the story really significantly boomeranged around. Why is that? First, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer accused Democrat Jamie Raskin of working with prison officials to leak confidential communications from his client. Those prison officials apparently have been disciplined, but that is only the beginning of it. Just a few moments ago, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that she is naming the acting U.S. attorney in New York City, Jay Clayton, to investigate Democrats' relationships with Jeffrey Epstein and whether any of them rose to the level of criminality. Why? Because so many of the emails today didn't involve Donald Trump or Republicans. That's right. It involved all those Democrats. And this time around, the idea that Democrats would project on Republicans ain't going to cut it. This Justice Department is going to go full bore into that. That is a big, big decision in the weaponization era. And it's another of many signs that I think Pam Bondi is moving towards approving the notion that there was a grand conspiracy against Donald Trump and his followers and conservatives, and it needs to be treated as such, just like the mob was involved in a grand conspiracy or drug cartels were involved in a grand conspiracy. It looks like the Justice Department is moving closer and closer to that.
It's getting better. And you know, some stuff that I didn't even know about, many of us didn't know. They had some newly released files showing that Epstein texted a sitting House Democrat, Stacey Plackett, during the 2019 Michael Cohen hearing. And I'm showing you on the screen. If you're not watching, it's a little bit better if you watch, but I'll try to explain it for those that just listen.
Simple motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
It's regular order to have the testimony 24 hours in advance.
Excuse me.
Hours in advance.
I wanted
Obama was president of the United States.
So, as you're listening, old Stacey Plaskett's looking down at text messaging. And where is she getting her text messages from? You ready? This is February 27, 2019. She's getting it from Jeffrey Epstein. If you're looking at your screen, somebody put this together in real time to show exactly how she was being texted. And he asks, "Are you chewing?"
And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago,
she text from Stacey Plaskett, sent 2 minutes later, Message, not anymore.
Commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even
So now she got a text. Cohen brought up Rona.
today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You
She replied back, Rona?
suggested you were going to review that. Did you review? Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped
Quick, I'm up next, she says. Is that an acronym?
out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today.
He replies back, that's his assistant.
It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg
And here goes Stacey Plaskett.
and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
are there other people that we should be meeting with?
I just have a simple motion, Mr.
Yep, so they were trying to use old Epstein. They were all working together to try to take out President Trump. Yep, more proof that Epstein didn't like Trump. Epstein knew that Trump was going to take him down and knew he was an FBI informant, probably found out. And he's like part of they worked together with Democrats and said, we're going to figure this out. Get Epstein. Yeah, we're going to figure this out. He knows some people, so we'll have him text him while this is playing out. And just a couple of reminders for those that have to still deal with people that are upset with you and they say, oh, there's, Trump is part of the Epstein files. Oh my goodness, because we have to keep reminding everybody over and over again and have these videos sent out to remind them. Large panel of Epstein victims said that they never saw Trump do anything wrong.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
Never. No. Interesting. Again, the President Trump, dropped this picture. Let me see. I've got a better picture of that one before I finish here. Oh, here it is. He put Trump 2028. There he is, retruthing that. He posted this at 22:26, the exact timestamp match with drop 2417. And that drop is, remember, the Guardian of the Pedophiles now playing at the theaters, Panic in D.C., and FISAgate with the players of evil, Obama and Hillary, Loretta Lynch and Comey, all those guys that are going to be in some huge, huge trouble in the future. And, we've had some things play out in New York, right? Because some folks are going to go down. It's interesting that Dan Scavino posted a picture wearing looks like a hoodie or a hat, says Southern District of New York. Yeah, hat. Well, it's interesting because right after that, he wore this. Okay. 6 days before, Attorney General Pam Bondi said, thank you, Mr. President. SDNY, the Southern District of New York, U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton is one of the most capable and trusted prosecutors in the country, and I've asked him to take the lead. As with all matters, the department will pursue this with urgency and integrity to deliver answers to the American people on the Epstein hoax. Yeah, President Trump said now the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax, involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try and deflect from their disastrous shutdown and all of their failures, their other failures. I'm asking AG Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan, Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all arrows pointing to the Democrats. Records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Stay tuned. That's right. So President Trump, asked about these things as he was on the tarmac.
Representative Massey says he's concerned that the Epstein probe you are calling for could be a smokescreen to block the release of more files. Is that the case?
Well, I don't want to talk about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter. And
He's talking to Bloomberg of fake news, but he was asked about Thomas Massey and the release of the Epstein files.
about it because fake news like you're a terrible reporter. And fake news like they just keep bringing that up to deflect from the tremendous success of the Trump administration So a guy like Massey, his poll numbers are showing he's at 6% approval rating right now. And we call him Rand Paul Jr. because he never votes for the Republican Party. So they're using Jeffrey Epstein as a deflection from the tremendous success that we're having as a party.
And so President Trump said, as I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files. We have nothing to hide. It's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat shutdown. The Department of Justice has already turned over tens of thousands of pages to the public on Epstein. They're looking at various Democrat operatives, Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, etc., and their relationship to Epstein, and the House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to. I don't care. All I do care about is that Republicans get back on point, which is the economy, affordability, where we are winning big, our victory on reducing inflation from the highest level in history to practically nothing, bringing down prices for the American people, delivering historic tax cuts, gaining trillions of dollars of investment into America, a record, the rebuilding of our military, and so much more. Let's talk about the big achievements, not fall into the Epstein trap, which is actually a curse on the Democrats, not us. And we're going to look more into the curse on the Democrats here in a moment.
Prior to December 2021, my husband Larry was a healthy, active man with no health concerns or underlying conditions. He was a college lecturer and a successful musician, but that was all taken away from him on the 15th of December 2021. That was the day he received a COVID Pfizer booster injection in Oma Leisure Centre.
Well, that heartbreaking story from Larry Lowe's wife. She's talking because it's too hard for him to speak. Just because she didn't react immediately to the COVID jab, it doesn't mean you are in the clear. Mysterious symptoms and even deaths are surfacing months, sometimes years later. So you look at this, the VAERS reports show way more COVID vaccine injuries than something as common as Tylenol. And get this, experts estimate only 1% of cases are even reported. Plus, shedding means you could be exposed even if you skip the shot. Now, mRNA vaccines could be in our livestock, even organic. Why are mRNA vaccines different? It's the spike proteins. These proteins meant to train your immune system can interact with blood vessels and platelets, potentially causing clotting or inflammation. Overwhelming evidence shows millions are affected. So what's the solution? It starts with your gut. A healthy gut microbiome is the number one factor in fixing damage from vaccines, antibiotics, and the standard American diet. And the best way to boost gut diversity is kimchi. Studies, like one from the National Institute of Health, show kimchi's incredible power to restore gut health. But let's be real, eating kimchi daily isn't easy. That's where Bright Course Kimchi 1 comes in. Delivers 900 probiotic strains, live enzymes, and antioxidants in one convenient capsule. No mess, no taste. It supports digestion, energy, metabolism, immunity, and more. The And We Know listeners can get 25% off Kimchi 1 with code AWK at mybrightcore.com/AWK or call 888-317-9941 for up to 50% off plus free shipping today. Now, folks, this is from 2015, an interview with President Trump. Listen to this.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
That's one question.
He could end up being a political problem. Talks about it openly. We already know so much about this, don't we? Remember Sean T. Davies talking about the Clintons when President Trump said it could be a big thing against them. It could be a problem. Remember this.
Abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would
believe me if I spoke out? Talking about old Clinton, huh? Liz Crokin, a reminder, Jeffrey Epstein sent his lawyer a high-importance email about Pizzagate. Jeffrey Epstein sent his lawyer an email noted on high importance in the late 2016, stating Hillary and Bill Clinton's relationship with Epstein had the greatest bearing on Pizzagate. Read that again. Epstein considered Pizzagate high importance and emailed his lawyer about it. There's the email right there in front of you, folks. Epstein and the Clintons are Pizzagate, and it's always been real. Even Epstein knew that, which is why he nor anyone has even sent me so much as a legal letter over my nonstop reporting on Pizzagate over the past 10 years. TikTok. There it is. On your screen. You can take a screenshot and read it all you want. So, she said who would believe her and how would it play out for her. Imagine, if you get to court and judges keeping the Epstein files sealed were all Democrat appointees. Imagine them taking care of you. Well, we had a Richard M. Berman, appointed by Bill Clinton, Democrat. Paul Engelmeyer, appointed by Barack Obama, Democrat. And Robin Rosenberg. They kept the Epstein files sealed. And also another new piece, a newly revealed email shows that Democrat funding group Dynamic SRG contacting Jeffrey Epstein in 2013 to promote then freshman Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, calling him Brooklyn's Barack, while urging Epstein to support a major Democratic fundraising push. Always comes back on them, doesn't it? And every time they try to go after President Trump, it doesn't work. Remember this interview on Fox with Megyn, and it was we'll go to the 56-second mark when basically he talks about they couldn't find any dirt on President Trump.
When will you release information on Donald Trump? And of course, we're very interested in all countries to reveal the truth about different candidates so people can understand. But it's really hard for us to release anything worse than what comes out of Donald Trump's mouth every second day. I mean, it's part of his charismatic appeal that he speaks off the cuff.
And so, sorry about that. Didn't see that video coming like this. But bottom line is they had nothing. They couldn't find him. And the only thing we have is when he talks. That was 2016. Couldn't find anything on him. And so, some other interesting things that came out were misspellings. That's right, Clinton, Weiner, and Abedin. Notice how they have the FBI actually misspelling their names. It makes it much harder for the Freedom of Information Act to find them, right? You go in there and you're looking for them, and you're using AI, or maybe you're using all kinds of stuff, and you misspell the names where you're not going to find Clinton, Weiner, or Abedin because their name's been misspelled. In this one, the use of HRC is how it was found. So they had to, basically use HRC. Think about how messed up this is. The FBI has long behaved as if it should be allowed to do whatever it wants. More receipts. Ultra Magadine Erickson said, we were always told misspellings matter. But this is an angle I never even thought of. Remember, misspellings matter. There it is. I'm showing it to you on the screen. 3704 Durham 531-99. Where we go one, we go all. Misspellings matter. Sentence formation matters. Learn. This seems to connect a lot of dots regarding how Durham took so long and why a lot of truth hasn't come out yet. So they're going through these documents and emails and all kinds of stuff, and it's, you got to go through them piece by piece because they misspell all the names. Huh. And then we head over to President Trump with all that he's doing. He's tearing down the Democrats one piece at a time. They're exposing themselves because of the Epstein hoax and more. All they're trying to do to him, it's not working. Well, he's hitting back on all kinds of areas that they hold on to where they get their money. Their pockets are lined. One of them is Obamacare.
And I've had personal talks with some Democrats. I can't tell you who they are. I just don't want to do that. It's not fair to them. About paying large amounts of dollars back to the people This was my idea. It came up during that, oftentimes under times of stress, like the shutdown, you come up with great ideas that you wouldn't have thought of before. The insurance companies are making a fortune. Their stock is up over 1,000% over a short period of time. They are taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're not really putting it back, certainly not like they should. So when I see this, and when I've seen this over the last pretty short period of time, I said, why do we just pay this money directly to the people of our country and let them buy their own health insurance? And I made that statement, and I made it a little bit cavalierly, but it sounded good. And everybody has picked it up, including Democrats. And I am talking to some Democrats right now about doing that. People love it. We're going to take the money. Well, if it gets approved, we're going to take the money. We're going to pay it back to the people of our country to go out and buy health insurance. Now, they can put it in a health account. We can do it a lot of different ways. But they buy their own health insurance. They can negotiate price. And it's going to be locked, so they can't go out and buy a Cadillac. They can go out and buy health insurance.
How about that? Get rid of Obamacare. Working with some Democrats, and he can't give the names out, right? The media's probably like, oh my goodness, we need to find out who this is. Oh, this would be great if we can just figure it all out. That's not going to work. And then, of course, he came out and stated that there's a lawsuit coming out against Gavin Newsom in California.
Lawsuit will be taking place, but will be taking place concerning the California hoax, where they're trying to get 5 more seats. And California is one of the most dishonest elections ever. They send out tens of millions of ballots to people all over the place. Many of those people get 2 or 3 ballots, then they come back. California is a disgrace on voting, and they're doing something that is very illegal. So we are or will be suing California on the 5 seats. The Department of Justice, yes.
How about that? Ultra Magadine Erickson, wouldn't that be interesting if it came out around the 12th of December on Gavin Newsom? Because Q answered that question almost 7 years ago on December 12th, 2018. Someone asked, will voter fraud in California ever be brought to light? Q answered, yes, watch California. Was deliberate. Oh, wouldn't that be perfect timing just to hit that marker? It would drive a lot of people crazy, especially when it comes to Q and so much more proof and coincidences that continue to play out in our daily life. That's why we like this so much. You can head over to amweknow.com, folks, and you're going to find that we have amazing videos. You can go back in time and look at all those. You can reach us on social media. When you go there, you'll see that we have a At Sea with LT Freedom Voyage we've been talking about March 15th through 22nd. We hope that you join us. Plenty of room available going to Puerto Rico from Fort Lauderdale. All of our social media is on the top right of our website. If you scroll down, you'll notice that we have a newsletter you can subscribe to. All of our partners, if you're like, hey, I remember there was a certain company that LT was talking about. Well, if you forgot where it was or what video, just go down to our website, scroll down, you'll find them right there. Okay? Pretty cool. We have latest news. And also, we're looking for folks to continue to send us pictures. If they click that contact button, this is what will happen. You'll get the home videos, but contact us, put your name, your email, click send a photo, and attach a photo. And we'd just love to get pictures of you. That would be wonderful. Also, we have new shirts, embroidered collections. We've got our John 14:27 shirts, our Follow Me, Make You Fishers of Men, Matthew 4:19, and more. So if you head on over there, we'd love to have you wear the gear, and you'll have a friend for life when they walk up and talk to you. For now, here's more great pictures of Patriots wearing our gear. folks, if you're listening instead of watching, a lot of stuff's going on in Mexico. President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum's reign of terror is coming to an end, especially after the cartel assassination hit on Mayor Carlos Manzo. Manzo was the 7th mayor killed in the state since 2022, and the 2nd high-profile assassination in a 2-week span. The good people of Mexican anti-cartel rebellion has reached presidential palace in Mexico City. The people around the world are awake, and the same will follow for all tyrannical governments connected to the cabal and the cartels. Speaking of cabal and cartels, very interesting because we're starting to get a lot of video clips. We've been talking about this a long time, showing the 48 new mosques in 24 months in Texas, out of all places. And if you're looking at your screen, somebody put this together showing all of them pop up all around, looks like the Dallas area. Well, you'd say, well, what's the big deal? They're just people like anybody else. Well, they're gathering in Irving, Texas. Let me show you this. So this Muslim gathering, Irving, Texas, is the city in Texas where 2 Sharia law courts are operating. And many sources are saying that they're already ruling over 300 cases of Sharia law inside the United States of America, outside of American law. And folks, keep warning, do you realize how the situation continues to play out for so many? Now, going into something else that's been real interesting is President Trump's been pointing out, we're going to go to the midterm soon, and folks are going to be talking about it and stuff. So President Trump said very disappointed in Indiana State Senate Republicans led by Rhino Senators Rod Bray and Greg Good for not wanting to redistrict their state, allowing the United States Congress to perhaps gain 2 more Republican seats, while the Democrats have been redistricting for years, often illegally, and all other appropriate Republican states have done it. Because of these 2 politically correct type gentlemen and a few others, they could be depriving Republicans of a majority in the House, a very big deal. California is trying to pick up 5 seats, and no one is complaining about that. It's weak Republicans that cause our country such problems. It's why we have crazy policies and ideas that are so bad for America. Also, a friend of mine, Governor Mike Braun, perhaps is not working the way he should to get the necessary votes. Considering that Mike wouldn't be governor without me, not even close, is disappointing. Any Republican that votes against this important redistricting, potentially having an impact on America itself, should be primaried. Indiana is a state with strong, smart, and patriotic people. They want us to see our country win and want to make America great again. Senators Bray, Good, and the others to be released to the public later this afternoon should do their job and do it now. If not, let's get them out of office ASAP. Another interesting thing that's been playing out, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but a lot happening over the weekend with Marjorie Taylor Greene. President Trump said he's withdrawing. He says, I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia. Over the past few weeks, despite my creating record achievements for our country, including a total and complete victory of the shutdown, closed borders, low taxes, no men and women sports, or transgender for everyone, ending DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, biggest regulation cuts in history, stopping 8 wars, rebuilding our military, being respected by every country in the world as opposed to being the laughingstock that we were just 12 months ago, having trillions of dollars, record-setting, invested in the USA, and having created the hottest country anywhere in the world from being a dead country just 12 months ago, and so much more. All I see wacky Marjorie do is complain. It seemed it to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator or governor. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. She has told many people that she is upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore, but with 219 congressmen, women, 53 U.S. senators, 24 cabinet members, almost 200 countries, and an otherwise normal life to lead, I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, that they too are fed up with her and her antics, and if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left, even doing The View with her. Their low IQ Republican conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district. So, anyway, he continues. She's gone far left. Went on The View. Sorry, I was going to read that twice. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And Marjorie says this, and the Epstein files is why I'm being attacked by President Trump. And it really makes you wonder what is in those files and who and what country is putting so much pressure on him. I forgive him, and I will pray for him to return his original bag of promises. Calvin Coolidge Project came out and said, what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene? This post covers what MTG has done over the past few months and years. Then you will understand why President Trump posted what he did. Now, this is from one angle. Now, before I read this, there are many out there that are saying, oh, this is part of what we call the kayfabe, like he did with Elon. They part ways, they don't talk to each other, and then Marjorie goes out there and exposes and opens and gets the Democrats to say, yes, we want the Epstein files. And she says, I want them too, because you never know about Trump. And then next thing you know, they get the Epstein files released, and it shows all the illegals, the Democrats, and what they've done, and the rhinos, and exposes all of them. And so anyway, some folks think that's what's going on. But I'm going to read this from Calvin Coolidge Project. Anyway, there was an article on Notice saying MTG was telling people she wanted to run for president in 2028. This is what Trump is trying to stop. In 2023, MTG claims that the release of the January 6 tapes could put the Capitol's security at risk. She was more loyal to Kevin McCarthy, the husk, than she was ever to President Trump. She wanted to run for Senate in 2026. However, President Trump told her no, that she wouldn't win a statewide race. Since then, she has taken nothing but complaints about President Trump. Last month, she said the current Georgia Senate GOP primary candidates, Mike Collins, Buddy Carter, and Derek Dooley, are all lackluster, and Democrat incumbent Senator John Ossoff would win if the election were held today. This year, she said the U.S. would enter World War III and a nuclear war would happen after the U.S. bombed Iran's nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight Hammer. She boldly predicted there would be a flag-draped coffin or coffins. Did any of that nonsense ever happen? ? Last month, she came out against mass deportations. Quote, we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them. Unquote. She said that. On CNN last month, blamed the government shutdown on Republican leadership. She is held head of the Doge House Committee. What has she accomplished? Give one example. She praised Nancy Pelosi on The View. She won The View and said, Nancy was wonderful. I never played that clip, but folks, she did. Last month, she came out in support of the $1.5 trillion in subsidies for Obamacare. She has become rich from insider trading, according to Quiver Quantitative, which they, look at all of these politicians. Her net worth is around $25 million. She's worth $25 million, and to let that sink in. So you've got one side explaining all of the things that are playing out. President Trump saying he's done. He's not going to endorse her because of, if you see all the things we just read. And some people are out there saying, oh, it's just part of a game. They're only doing it to the public so that she would expose the Democrats. And anyway, so I tell you all that to say this. What do you guys think? Put it in the below this video. Let me know your comments. Let everybody read up and see how they think this thing is playing out. I know that I've looked at a lot of polls, and many people believe it's just a game. It's being played on a chessboard that President Trump normally plays out. So look at CNN.
Political engagement. When they sent her that poll, that's when you start to see everything change. She opposed the president on his Middle East policy, attacking the Houthi rebels, attacking Iran. She's opposed the president on deportations this summer. So she has sort of become a policy opponent of the president, but I think it really all started with that political engagement, and now she's one of his most frequent critics on some of what I would argue has been his biggest successes this year. And if you want to count yourself as an ally of the President of the United States, it's not great to go out and run out to The View and other places and crap on him 24 hours a day. I mean, that's essentially what she's become. It's a well-worn path. A lot of other Republicans who've turned on the president have done that too.
But there's a difference.
Pretty interesting. Moving on. Property taxes. Unconstitutional and theft. We're tired of renting our homes from the government, says Julie Donuts. Put it away. Check this out.
Well, people have gathered here tonight at Harmony Community Church here in Lawndale as they're trying to light the way to fairness with this bonfire and discussion tonight. Many homeowners across Chicago receiving a hefty property tax increase in the mail, and they're all wondering where that money is going.
How can you maintain your home if your taxes are constantly going up?
Homeowners in Lawndale are searching for answers together tonight about their property tax hikes. Community leaders partnered with the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation to host this bonfire, allowing neighbors to discuss their options. One man says he received a bill this week that was $977 more than what he paid last year.
Tax increase is tied to a TIF that I have no idea why. Ogden-Pulaski TIF is collecting money from our neighbors in our streets, but we're not being notified for what or why it's in the bill.
The group discussed a number of solutions for the issue, including an effort to propose new policy, which would be modeled after California's Prop 13. That would limit property taxes to 1% of assessed value, with annual increases capped at 2%. Homeowners are also frustrated because they feel like they're not seeing the tax hikes lead to notable investment in their neighborhoods.
There's been a divestment in this community for the most part, but it seems like now that people have found an interest in reclaiming the neighborhood, now it's like we're being taxed for prosperity.
Chicago residents, property tax bonfire after they received their new property tax bills increase of $900. Man, folks, I mean, there's everything every day. You hit the people's pocketbooks, boy, they start waking up even more. And let's see, speaking of pocketbooks, we've been talking about SNAP a lot lately. And there's a lot of people that get Social Security numbers and they go apply for all these things and more. Check out this stat.
He's brilliant. He's going to be working to make sure that individuals who got Social Security numbers in this country should be using them for the right things, and they shouldn't be on our benefit programs. We have over 6,000 individuals that have been identified through their work already that have been on the terrorist watch list, that they are known criminals.
How does that happen, Madam Secretary? How does that happen?
It happens when you put a train wreck like Joe Biden in the White House, and it's going to be a lot of work to clean it up. But just in the last 4.5 years, we've had over 9 million people get Social Security numbers that are not U.S. citizens. So they may be people who have some sort of legal status, but a lot of them are illegals that were given a Social Security number in just the last 4.5 years that we're going to have to figure out if they should be here, if they are here legally under a program, and if they are here illegally, then they certainly shouldn't be using that Social Security number to be on our programs, and they should be removed or given the opportunity to go home on their own. That's the one thing President Trump would like, is everybody to be given the opportunity to go home if they would wish to.
Oh, yeah. What else has been going on out there?
On day one, when I was sworn in, which was earlier this year in February, the very first thing I did was send letters to every single state in America and said, never before has the federal government asked for the data, but it is a new day. President Trump is the president. We know there's a lot of fraud. We need to help partner with you all to figure out how to make sure that this money and these benefits go to those who truly need it and not rife with fraud and corruption. 29 states, mostly the red states, responded with their data sets February, March, April. So the numbers that you're talking through, those are numbers that we have been collecting and analyzing since early summer, late spring. Okay. The fact that this spotlight shined on SNAP has allowed us to talk about it. But here's the most unbelievable news I have really just over the last few days, that 5,000 dead people, that was just 1 month. The number is closer to 186,000 deceased men and women and children in this country are receiving a check. Now, that is what we're really going to start clamping down on. 500,000 are getting 2. But here's the really stunning thing. This is just data from those 29 mostly red states. Can you imagine when we get our hands on the blue state data, what we're going to find? It's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program, have everyone reapply for their benefit, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through SNAP or food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it. And that's the next step here.
Secretary Rollins, 186,000 dead people just in the data that they received. But the The blue states haven't sent their stuff in yet. 500,000 getting snapped twice, 2 times. Oh, I've got some more on that in a moment, and some many things on the illegals and some very bad immoral stuff happening in so-called churches. We're going to show you that in a moment. Stick around. You know, we had a great interview the other day for these wave watches. The power of frequency. I've learned so much about it. And I wanted to let you know, it's in the description box below, the Wave Watch. Improve your health with sound frequencies. And I couldn't believe it at first, but it's actually been working. Here's a soundbite from Linda Bamber Olson, Wave Watch inventor.
Because we're not doing that. We went more the direction of pills. And so that's why people have a little harder time realizing that their body can absorb frequencies through their skin and their bones. They don't have to hear it. So that was so important for me to be able to do that, because I'm a deaf person. I'm completely deaf in one ear, and I've had trouble with hearing my whole life. And so I wanted a tool that I could use, you know, that I didn't have to hear.
Oh, wow. Wow. I know a lot. Yeah, so many folks. You know, I met her on the cruise, and I tell you what, we had several folks that had the watch on, and we were testing them out. My back started feeling much better. My best friend actually put it on, had a hard time bowling. His left knee was in a lot of pain. And next thing you know, he was bowling. He bowled 4 games. He said, I could go 10 more. He couldn't even believe it. He normally wraps his everything up. He wraps his hand up and more. And he's like, what's going on? This thing is absolutely amazing. They have them in special colors like rose gold, also graphite. They improve your sleep, reduce stress, fight pain. They boost energy. And they are beautiful watches also. So when you use them, you can change to so many different frequencies for your brain health, for your pain, for sleep, and so much more. I encourage you to go check it out, folks. In the description box below. Go check it out. You will be absolutely amazed and reclaim your peace.
Now says that everyone who's on SNAP is going to have to reapply. Now, this happened, of course, when the government shut down and there was, you know, the SNAP benefits were not getting out to the people.
For 42 million Americans.
For 42 million. Well, we
people
thought Americans.
Inside the country.
People is probably the better. Yep. People. And so Brooke Rollins, we had her on, and we had a great conversation with her where she said, hey, listen, this whole SNAP benefits conversation around the shutdown has sort of pulled the curtain back, and people are seeing how many people are on SNAP that aren't actually citizens, and they're going to have to reapply. What do you make of this? I think it's very popular, especially if you go online and look at what people think. I think it's a popular initiative to say these benefits are for Americans. Is she going to be able to accomplish this? Is she going to have some legal challenges to it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm sure.
So all participants in the SNAP program have to reapply. The shutdown pulled the curtain back. Brooke Rollins, thanks Observing Consciousness for this. Brooke Rollins revealed the scale that no one expected. 42 million people on SNAP, 186,000 benefits still going to the dead. Nearly 500,000 double enrollments. We caught that already. Folks, remember, that's just numbers from the red states. Whew. 21 states resisted verification, and they're sued. USDA response is simple. Everyone must reapply. It's the first public reset of a federal system in a very long time. Here's the real signal. When a system shows fraud at this level, full re-verification becomes acceptable to the public. Real ID built the identity rail. SNAP reapplication proves that rail can reset entire programs. Once this logic lands, it naturally extends to Social Security, Medicare, disability, visa categories, and the biggest structure of all, national voter registration. This is narrative deployment. A national precedent is forming in real time. The public is being prepared for a voter roll re-verification that realigns the entire system. Boom. Oh, so good. Let's see. Let's look at some more of this.
Let me tell you, I work with Section 8 all day, every day, okay? And what really chafed me today is
Section 8 housing.
This girl who is a nurse who has turned down several jobs because she would no longer get her housing voucher. She's been on housing for 18 years now, could fully support herself 10 years ago, but because housing was going to buy her a new house and put her name on it, she didn't want to work. So she just worked a little so that she could get her brand new house. And so this month, she's getting a brand new house built for her, put in her name, when this whole time, she had the capability of affording it herself. Just really chaps me.
Well, yeah, and it pisses me off because we got a lot of hardworking people that watch, and I consider myself a hardworking person. And I just don't get why us as the hard workers, we get taken advantage of, and then our money ends up going to people that look like this. Shots fired! Shrek with a septum ring.
Yeah, a bunch of people are asking why we're getting evicted, and it's because we're disabled. We can't keep jobs, and...
Chat, call me insensitive here, if I am. If you have the energy, the mental fortitude, and the mechanics to be able to record a TikTok or go get your nose pierced, I think you can work a stay-at-home job. Am I way off base for thinking that, chat?
We missed rent multiple occasions, multiple months, and I always paid half, and I didn't send my half this month, and I thought I did, and that was their last straw.
And now you're cooked, back to the streets. You know what I mean? It's so sorry. The volume is just not loud on some of these, so I'm like, it needs to be a little louder if we're gonna listen to this and react to it. But yeah, we've seen subsidized single motherhood where people feel empowered now. They feel empowered to live off the government. They go, why would I want to work? Why in God's green earth would I want to work when I can sit at home on my tuchus and do nothing?
That's pretty much what we've been learning about. Well, then we go to the positive side on the economy. From doom to boom, President Trump sent this out, how Trump's tariffs are powering the U.S. economy. 6 months ago, critics warned that President Trump's tariffs would crush the economy. They said Americans would face soaring prices and crashing markets. The reality, as we near the end of 2025, the story looks very different. Growth is up, markets are strong, strategic onshore opportunities are emerging. Let's break it down. Tariffs have become a colossal source of revenue. Tariff collections hit $100 billion in the first half of fiscal 2025. U.S. Customs and Border Protection expects that figure to eclipse $300 billion by the end of the year. That money is helping real Americans, supporting the military, their families, and making sure our service members receive paychecks on time. Remember all of this, folks, moving forward, especially when we've been talking about precious metals. Gold, the largest official reserve. That's right. Silver has been climbing again, breaking records. We had a great interview with Dr. Kirk Elliott. If you missed it Saturday, we put this out for all to see. And man, he got into many details and how this all plays out for each and every one of us when we look. And you can reach out to him at weknow.com/gold, and he'll take care of you with his team. So getting into the immigration side, there's a jaw-dropping video. I saw this from Lindsey Wilson College. Lindsey Wilson's a United Methodist Liberal Arts University in Columbia, Kentucky. It's been focused on every student, every day since 1903. Really? Every student from where? The entire graduating class is from India, or they appear to be. The scheme: pay $2,670 per semester, attend one class, and get unlimited, no cap, no lottery work visa for high-paying tech jobs. 3,461 foreign students enrolled here in 2024, according to Expose H-1B fraud. And that is exposing the fraud. You can see them all walking in and all covered up, and they've got, their hijab on, and they got their cap and gown on. It's just amazing. December 7th, 2024. At the Bigger Sports Center. Just in shock. I saw this. I just said, I can't believe I'm going to talk about this. It's freaking me out.
We're going to a lot of cities, but I want to make one thing clear. The ICE director, Todd Lyons, he oversees the interior enforcement operations. Border Patrol is doing a great job with us. I mean, bottom line is, as you know, well, the last 4 years, ICE has spent thousands of people down on the border to help the Border Patrol when they were overwhelmed. Now the border is the most secure border in history of this nation because of President Trump. Now we need their help because 10.5 million illegal aliens came to the border under President Biden. But add that to the 15 million already here. So again, Border Patrol is helping ICE interior and numerous cities, more cities to come. And as we hire the 10,000 new agents, they come online every month. You're going to see more operations in more major cities, mainly sanctuary cities, because that's where our biggest problem is, because public safety threats are released every day, and we know it. So you're going to see a lot more of this coming in most major cities across the nation.
Help me understand really quickly the legal predicate or the background for Border Patrol.
There we go. Pretty amazing that they hit North Carolina, Charlotte. Said they were going to do it, and they hit into Charlotte, and they started taking them. Yeah, the sanctuary politicians ignored 1,400 ICE detainers, releasing murderers, rapists, and child predators. Now Trump's DHS has launched Operation Charlotte's Web to take them off the streets. That's right. The list includes murderers, child rapists, pedophiles, and repeat drunk drivers who were released back into the neighborhoods. They're acting to protect the Americans where local leaders will not. Then we get into more information coming out on J6.
And I want to move on to a few other issues before you go. And of course, we always talk about the last 10 years of conspiracy against President Trump. And it started with the Russia collusion, on to the indictments and the impeachments. And of course, January 6th. Do you have any news for us on January 6th in your investigation?
I think you'll see something on that front very soon. As you know, we can't reveal our ongoing investigations. And as it goes for things like Russiagate, Maria, again, maybe no one better than you has covered it. And look, I lived it. I was weaponized as a victim against a weaponization, politicization of law enforcement, including at the FBI, by former senior leadership there. And I was the one that ran and uncovered the Russiagate hoax and conspiracy back on my House Intel days. I can't talk about ongoing investigations, but I think you've seen reporting in the media and reflections as to what's going on. We will not allow anyone who participated in the Russiagate conspiracy or those who improperly and illegally, in my opinion, spied on me, members of Congress, and even members of the media for a political end state to be left unturned. These are investigations that are of important consequence to the American public. Deputy Director Bongino and I have lived through it with you and everyone else. And we don't ask you to trust us, but look at the work we've put in under President Trump's leadership. We are going after every single person, from drug traffickers to those who create precursors to those, most importantly, who weaponize our system of law enforcement. You've already seen indictments of people like former Director James Comey and others, and we're not done.
Well, by the way, Comey is asking for all of the charges to be dropped right now, as you know. So the audience wants to know if we're ever going to see accountability, Director. And I know that there's a limited amount you can say about this with regard to what happens next. There was a criminal referral for John Brennan. Do you believe we will see accountability?
Yes, 100%. We are delivering this accountability. But I'd just like to remind the audience, and I think you know this better than anyone, they built this weaponization scheme over the course of a decade plus. In these first 8 months that we've been there, we've already charged individuals, thanks to this great Department of Justice, who are at the pinnacle of this weaponization of government. We've already turned over, by the way, Maria, James Comey turned over 3,000 documents to Congress for oversight. Christopher Wray turned over 13,000. This FBI, under our leadership, has turned over 38,000 pages of information to Congress for congressional oversight purposes, which is wed to accountability, which is wed to the referrals that they send us back that we activate at the FBI. Every single letter they send us that has a substantive referral is opened by this FBI.
Director, just to clarify, how many
News Treason Channel 17, the only way to regain the trust regarding equal justice under the law regarding the White House and the Intel and the FBI, the DOJ, the Senate, the Congress, Five Eye, our government of the majority of the American people, is to provide truth, transparency, and prosecution of all those who knowingly took part in this illegal manufactured effort, attempted coup to take down the President of the United States. It's the Great Awakening. Kind of a side note I wanted to talk about a long time ago, but I've had this queued up for a while, talking about the Great Awakening. I'm going to play this and see what you guys think. These guys happen to belong to NASA. NASA, actually, the word, if you look at the root word, means to deceive.
Victor, Christina, Jeremy, we're going to the moon. When we get off the planet, we might come right back home. We might spend 3 or 4 days around Earth. We might go to the moon. That's where we want to go, but it is a test mission.
The 45 minutes that we're closest to the lunar surface are also going to be out of contact. We are going to have an LOS in NASA terms, a loss of signal. And while we cannot talk to the planet and our friends that are even in space on the International Space Station, I would love it if the entire world, those 8 billion people Jeremy mentioned, could come together and just, be hoping and praying for us to get that acquisition of signal and be back in touch with everybody.
We might find nothing, but it's definitely worth looking. And now I'm totally bought in. We're going to be like, I hope we don't make something up. When you see numbers like Mach 39 at entry, when you see numbers like 38,000 miles, 250,000 miles, 5-6 million pounds on the pad, those are just insane numbers. Like, those are just not numbers that humans generally think about.
Oh my God! Wow!
We were flying in a sim yesterday and watching the miles click down. What did we say we were doing, like 5 or 7 miles?
7 miles a second.
Coming back to Earth. So these numbers just you don't even comprehend. This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon.
What
did you say? And when I look at the future, when we talk about what is our legacy, I want to look 100 or 200 years in the future. This is where I thought this might land wrong. I hope we're forgotten.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
If we are forgotten, then Artemis has been successful. We have humans on Mars. We have humans out on the moons of Saturn. We are expanding into the solar system. Maybe we've invented something that we never even dreamed of, and maybe we inspired some kid somewhere, and maybe that's our footnote. We inspired Susie or Johnny to do what they did. That would be magical. There are stressful moments and there are fun moments. There's a lot of laughter. And when you laugh in space to the point where you cry, tears of joy, they just stick right in your eyeballs. And I always thought that was hilarious.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
I hope that's what we feel when we splash down on Artemis 2. And that will be a magical, I keep saying magical. That'll be a great moment.
All right. Now that you heard all that mess, let's listen to this guy here.
With Donald Trump, NASA's back. Tomorrow, this mission's going off. The 127th mission to the space station. Mike and Sonia are the 2 of the 4 American astronauts that are on that flight. They're right out of central casting. But what?
They're right out of central casting. If you're looking at your screen, you see who else was part of central casting? Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, and Michael Collins got their name placed on Hollywood stars. Yeah. Just thought I'd throw that in there for you guys to chew on for a while. Unreal, the Massachusetts, let's see, what else is unreal? Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey appointed Giselle Bird, a man pretended to be a woman, to the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women, which advises on policy to improve opportunities for women. Oh, and then there's this place called Cathedral of Hope Church in Dallas. Man, we already talked about Dallas and the mosque popping up. Well, what else is going on? Well, they pledged allegiance to drag.
We recognize that all people are made in the loving image of God, no matter who they are, how they dress and express themselves, or who they love. We celebrate this divine diversity and commit to lifting up the voices of the LGBTQ+ community and creating spaces where everyone can thrive.
Drag queens are often targets of hate and violence.
but we know that they are powerful and resilient people who show us what it means to be truly authentic and expressive. We honor their strength and we pledge to be allies to that community, recognizing their full humanity and their incredible contributions to our world. We embrace radical inclusivity and work to dismantle systems of oppression who fight against all forms of hate, prejudice, and intolerance.
Are you throwing up? You see what's happening? They always call it hate, right? I've told you my stories over and over again about dealing with this in the military, but this is even worse at levels that you just never thought you'd ever see. I never thought I'd see anything like this. So, again, first accept us for who we are, right? And be nice to us and just basically we'll do our thing, you guys do yours. And then next thing you know, they're like infiltrating all of the politicians, and then they infiltrate the other places, and they go into the place where we worship our Heavenly Father, who would tell them the truth. If they read the Word of God, it would tell them the truth. The truth, actually. They'd say, oh, that's not love if you tell us the truth. If you tell us that, that's hate. And love is telling you what can happen when you belong to this type of behavior, when you go to immoral activity. We're all sinners. We're all guilty. We all need a Savior, but we're not going to just say we accept you for who you are. We're going to tell you, be careful when you enter into sin, because when you do, there's a lot of things that can happen to you, a lot of consequences for that. And just breaks your heart. So I wanted to share that with you. President Trump dropped Trump 2028 again on Truth Social for everyone to understand and know. Wanted to kind of look at this because Grasshopper 17 got into this and said, look, when President Trump dropped this, it connects in so many ways to the comms that we received on the board. What is Q clearance? Does it refer to that someone dropping such information has the highest level of security within all departments? The calm before the storm. You're learning. News unlocks the map. Future proves past. Not everything can be stated. Who knows where the bodies are buried? The calm before the storm. Well, I felt like since he had this connection and we're talking about Q and he posted this to remind us of Q, remember the several times that President Trump was asked about this phenomenon, Q, and I just wanted to show those that might be new or forgot.
During the pandemic, the QAnon movement appears to be gaining a lot of followers. Can you talk about what you think about that and what you have to say to people who are following this movement right now?
Well, I don't know much about the movement other than I understand they like me very much, which I appreciate, but I don't know much about the movement. I have heard that it is gaining in popularity, and from what I've heard, these are people that when they watch the streets of Portland, when they watch what happened in New York City in just the last 6 or 7 months, but this was starting even 4 years ago when I came here, almost 4 years, can you believe it? These are people that don't like seeing what's going on in places like Portland and places like Chicago and New York and other cities and states. And I've heard these are people that love our country and they just don't like seeing it.
Didn't go against it, did he? Let's see this one.
President, do you know who Anonymous is?
Do you know who Anonymous is?
I don't want to say, but you'd be surprised.
I don't want to say, but you'd be surprised. Do you know who Anonymous is?
And then I wanted to ask you, you congratulated Marjorie Taylor Greene in a tweet. You called her a future Republican star. Greene has been a proponent of the QAnon conspiracy theory.
This is from 2020.
She said it's something that would be worth listening to. Do you agree with her on that?
Well, she did very well in the election. She won by a lot. She was very popular. She comes from a great state. And she had a tremendous victory, so absolutely, I did congratulate her. Please, go ahead.
On QAnon and her decision to embrace that conspiracy theory.
So she brought up QAnon back then, and it was very interesting. And so throwing Marjorie back in there to show you that, he kind of supported her back then. So makes you wonder what's really going on, doesn't it? She was asked, she was messing around with the Q stuff, and he was asked about it back then, and he basically gave his answers. So as this has all been playing out since we've been talking about it, let's go here and look at this. Just real quick, a small clip of a thank you to the Anons and the Truthers and the Conspiracy Realists, and then we're going to pray.
Yeah, it's this morning. It just hit me. I want to say thank you to every Q folk, every conspiracy realist, every truther, all of you. I just want to say thank you, because it's the ones that were indifferent. It was the ones that were pushed aside, or the black sheep, or it was all of y'all who were the quiet ones who it was because God chose us. Blessed with eyes to see and ears to hear. It really touches you. It really does. It really, it touched me this morning, because I want to just say thank you to you guys for not ever giving up and to always continue the fight. And because of this, we have a nation. Yeah, don't mind. Look, I'm rough this morning. I just sat here having my coffee, and it just hit me. Oh my God. I have a few of these, but this one was a deep hit, and I don't know if everything's going on or whatever, but we're down to now the Clintons are in the headlines. So this thing has been speed railing, and if you've been following along, you know how fast this is moving. And it's starting to pick up, which means we're getting close, which means we don't know what's on the other side of everything. I mean, we've all speculated, we've all given our best answers that we could to help us, to give faith, to give light in the world that's so cold and dark. We have fought through so much adversity to get where we are today, and so many people are waking up. If you read, it really hit me hard, because if you read your news channels when they're pushing the vaccines, oh Lord, Clint, where are you, man? Because he's been posting about this too. If you see the news channels when they're pushing the vaccines, and you read the comment sections and you look at how many laughing emojis there are, people have awakened to the madness. It means the most, because we have pushed so hard to try to save. We were told in the beginning of this movement, save them all. It doesn't matter what race, color, age, degree, whatever you are, you save them all. You just keep going. You don't stop. And so many patriots have pushed us and pushed us and pushed us to keep going, because we've gotten so tired and so beaten up all these years. And it's finally starting to work, and we see it in the fruit. You see it, and it is amazing. It is the most beautiful thing to see, that the world is awakening, and that is so beautiful. And if it doesn't touch you, you don't. So yes, this morning it is very heavy. It's not it's a beautiful heavy, but it's refreshing to see it. It's refreshing. All them years, people have mocked us and ridiculed us and laughed at us and called us Nazis and murderers, MAGAs or maggots and all that crap, man. It was never about red versus blue. At first, when we started, it was, yes, but that got the movement going. And then we all realized that it wasn't the red versus blue. This is literally spiritual. This is literally good versus evil.
Absolutely amazing. Bringing us back to, what is the clearance? The Q clearance does it refer to someone dropping such information as the highest levels of security within all departments. You're learning News unlocks the map, future proves the past. It's the reason we got involved in this in the first place, is helping folks understand and realize there are comms that are happening that are going around the mainstream media, reaching us day in and day out. And it's been wonderful to behold and realize so many are waking up. Let's continue.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, once again, we are in awe of you. We thank you for all you've done in and through our lives, for your guidance and direction for us daily. We ask that you would continue to watch over and protect all of those that are on the front lines and in danger. And we also look to you, the author and finisher of our faith, to increase our faith each day as we move through this very strange world that we're in now. And we ask again for help with our neighbors and those that we care about so much, and share them with them daily information as it comes forth before us. Again, we lift up those that are hurting at this time, especially going into the holiday season and Thanksgiving and more. You know them. You understand it all, and we look forward to hearing more good news of people reaching out to others in love and grace. We bring this all before your throne in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen and amen. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you made it through this entire video. If you did, thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers and more. We're not going to have a video out tomorrow. We have plans for an interview out Wednesday and a big release on Thursday that I worked all weekend on, going over the inauguration videos that people have been asking for when I proved that the inauguration was fake. Really good stuff as I travel. And so they appreciate your prayers for that. We have an amazing time for me to get just a couple of days to really get my body back in tune, back to life again. Oh, man. Oh, all right. For now, it's LT Semperfi with them we know. Signing out.
Here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.